Hello and welcome everyone to anubhavtrainings.com. In this episode of video, we will discuss about motivation for SAP Business Application Studio, which is SAP's new generation development IDE for multi-cloud development. Many of you have approached me asking what's the fate of SAP WebIDE going forward, as you may be already using it for our UI5 and Fiori development. If you are using SAP Cloud Platform, with WebIDE for UI5 development, from 13th of November 2020 onwards, the new environment will decommission permanently. Due to this decommissioning, the SAP WebIDE full stack will become obsolete and it will not be available for you as part of the new environment. Hence, what are all the options we have to be able to use the WebIDE still? And if not, then what will be the successor for that? We will be discussing that in this video. Together with that, we will also understand what's the motivation for having Business Application Studio, which is the next generation IDE for the development of multi-cloud application and also acts as a successor for WebIDE full stack. So let's get started. So first of all, I would switch over to the Cloud Platform trial account. And in this Cloud Platform trial account, you would see that earlier we here used to have the WebIDE full stack. And now this option is gone. So first of all, the thing is you can still access your WebIDE full stack by just scroll down till the bottom and switch over to access to Neo trial. Just go inside. And inside the Neo trial, you'll be able to go to the services. And here you can search for WebIDE. And you can still access this WebIDE for some more time just by going to your WebIDE full stack. So this is how you can also still go back and load your projects which you have already created. Now you can see here the moment I open this, I get this message. So the last day of decommissioning this is 13th of November, and it says on 13th of November, Cloud Platform new and trial environment will discontinue. As a result of that, full stack trial will be also discontinued. Now, this is a news for us as a developer. If I'm using trial for learning UI5 and Fiori, what will happen? And how can I myself migrate my existing projects to the new development environment, or what are all the options we do have? So for now, you are able to access it, but from 13th of November 2020, it will not be there. So let's see and explore what options do you have to be able to continue your development of UI5 and Fiori application, and also understand why is this change? What's the motivation behind having the new work? So what we are today doing, we are using the SAP WebIDE full stack, and for your development in the trial amount, or you can also use WebIDE Personal Edition. However, the Personal Edition is a different story. You can still continue to download and use it in your local machine. But those who are using the cloud version where you don't need any installation and you're using the full stack on SAP Cloud Platform, this will not be available anymore from 13 November onwards. So there are three options to choose from. Option one, you migrate and yourself all the projects on this new development environment called Business Application Studio and get used to the new development environment. This is option one. And for this option, I am already starting a new batch on SAP UI5 in coming days. And all the development of SAP UI5 application I will show in this new environment. That's option one. That's how you can do it. However, in this YouTube video, you will get a basic introduction. And in my subsequent YouTube videos also, I will give you a very basic idea about how can you migrate your projects. But more detail, you can join my course on UI5 and Fiori development, end-to-end learning of Application Studio and capabilities. Option two, you can go and purchase WebIDE full stack subscription from SAP Store. So buy WebIDE full stack subscription from SAP Store. option number 2. Option number 3, what we have is, which is not for the UI5 developer, but mainly for HANA developer. Now you may be also using earlier SAP HANA development using the WebIDE for HANA. Now, those who are using the new environment for HANA relevant developments will also discontinue. So for you, you have still another choice to make. You can switch to the SAP WebIDE full stack for HANA development, HANA WebIDE in the Cloud Foundry environment. So that I will show you first. First, we will see this. Then we will go and learn about motivation for why is this change, why Business Application Studio, and why we should learn Business Application Studio going forward for development. So let me go over and show you first a workaround for the HANA related development. If you're doing HANA Access Advanced Application, your calculation views in the Web IDE, and then since it's discontinuing, what option you have. So for those who are using HANA development, what you can do is go back to your Cloud Platform cockpit and go inside your trial account. But please note that this is only applicable for those who are doing HANA development, not for those who are doing UI5 and Fiori development. So be very careful. Go to your trial workspace, trial sub account. So I'm sure you would have created a sub account in Cloud Foundry. So now here you go to the subscriptions. And in this search for web. And you can see WebIDE for HANA development. So still those who are doing HANA development, you can use this particular WebIDE in the Cloud Foundry environment. You can launch this. This looks like a WebIDE full stack, but please note this is only for HANA developers because the offered templates inside this are relevant for SAP HANA multi-cloud application or MTAR application. So please don't confuse here. This should be used only for HANA development, not for the UI5 and Fiori developments. Okay. So once it starts, I will show you that the templates which are offered by this WebIDE are only relevant for HANA related development, those who are doing native HANA developments. So maybe I just go over to the workspace. It loads. And now if I can just right click on workspace and say new project, you will see the option here for HANA database modules. Yeah. So this is the WebIDE you can use for HANA related developments typically. Now that's the WebIDE full stack in the multi-cloud environment you can use for HANA related development. Now, what is the better option for a developer? A better option is to learn Business Application Studio because going forward, this will be the main development environment for a multi-cloud application. So let me explain you the motivation behind having Business Application Studio. What are all the advantages or options which we have now by choosing the application studio. So the very first advantage, as you can see here, for motivation of having this Business Application Studio is it is a single development environment for all sorts of applications. For now, as of now, this development environment does not support, as of now, the HANA related HANA native development options, but going forward, that will also should come, ideally will come in a long run. So this Business Application Studio allows you to develop different variety of applications. Example, if you're doing SAP UI5 and Fiori apps, or you are building apps using template, or Fiori elements, or probably the applications using Fiori design principles, then what you today use is WebIDE Personal Edition or probably the full stack in the new environment. And this can be now done using Business Application Studio. So that's one thing. So all the Fiori related developments which you are doing with the local tools or the other tools or the WebIDE full stack, this is what you can achieve or do it just by the Business Application Studio. So it's full stack, SAP WebIDE full stack. This is what you are using today. Now, moving on to the next development. So developments related to Cloud Application Programming Model, CAP, yeah, or applications using Node.js and Java. If you are doing it, then probably today you are using the Eclipse environment. So this is what you can now do it also with the help of, so currently you're using Eclipse, local Eclipse environment and the SDKs. You can also do this with the help of the Business Application Studio. Then next, if you're doing HANA development, so HANA native development where you're building calculation views, HANA related things. So today the kind of tools which you are using is local tools. Either you are using HANA Studio or the HANA web-based development environment or HANA Web IDE. So these are all the preferred tools: HANA Web IDE, HANA web-based development environment, or HANA Studio. Yeah. So these are all the tools you're using in HANA related world. Then this will slowly also one day ideally should come as part of the Business Application Studio. So idea is to get everything together at one central place, one single development experience for all the developers. And not last but not the least, those who have attended my ABAP on Cloud course, we have learned about RAP, RESTful Application Programming Model with ABAP on Cloud. So this will also be possible to be developed. So for this, you are currently using local Eclipse with the connecting to the cloud system. So we are also using here Eclipse. So now if you see, we have so many development tools today, the development or the dev teams are using. Now, if I say we want to harmonize that and avoid the confusion of having these different variety of tools, combine them in one single tool, and that's what your Business Application Studio would be. Yeah. So I hope you got the biggest motivation of why this change, that you can have all this is done centrally with one centralized tool with a unified experience. That's the first biggest motivation for switching over to the Business Application Studio. Now, the second motivation is, of course, it's a cloud-based multi-cloud environment for development. So there is no installation required in your local machine. So no local installation and setup required. Now, if you just do a little bit of research, you will find the most used development tools today in the world are, some of them are Eclipse. You might have heard about Atom and Visual Studio. Yeah. So these are all the most dominating tools used across the globe by millions of developers, right? Now, what SAP have done now is the experience which you get with Business Application Studio is like Visual Studio. Microsoft's Visual Studio like experience, you're going to get it over here. So you're getting more and more closer to industry best practices or industry widely adopted industry tools. So those who are working on Microsoft technologies and Visual Studio code editors, it's easy for them to switch over to this new development environment without really investing too much on the learning, because you get a similar experience. So that's a third motivation of having this environment. In a moment when I show you in my next video how to set up Business Application Studio for the first time, you will realize that the experience which you get is more like Visual Studio like experience. Now, of course, you have all the classical capabilities like integration capabilities, where you have you can integrate with the API Business Hub. You can build applications using your on-premise solutions. It's possible. You can integrate with cloud solutions, your cloud solution APIs you can consume here. You can also integrate with Cloud Platform. So all the integration capabilities are still in there. Now, in terms of the tools and services, you will have also a tailored application environment, development environment for each kind of development. Just to take an example, if I'm doing UI5 and Fiori development, the kind of application tools or the services we use, like mock server. We do unit testing using OPA5. We use templates, worklist template. These different templates we use, right? Worklist, master detail, Fiori elements. So all the templating feature, all the mock server, all the build tools, like you might have seen my video on how to package and build using grunt.js. All these capabilities, Git integration, very important. So all these integration and features are available also in this new development environment. So this is the motivation of having Business Application Studio. Now I hope you got an idea why Business Application Studio as a successor for all the future development for us. And of course, all my trainings are also adapted now according to the new development environment, so that you can also get used to this new development environment and build applications using my new way of training on this new development tool. Now, more than that, it also gives you access to the command line tools, so that you can directly type operating system commands. So for example, jumping into a project directory, because it gives you kind of an access to the virtual machine on which the studio is running. So you have directory level access also now possible, so that you can perform different, for example, node commands. If I want to quickly install a node module, I'll be able to do that. So all the kind of development which comprises of little bit of command line, like you do it in local machine, you have full access to your command line tools. Similarly, you'll also be able to do that now with the Business Application Studio pretty much in the system. So these are some of the motivations. As a developer, I find it very attractive for me to be able to start using this tool. But now let's look at quickly the architecture as well for this Business Application Studio, how it's actually, how powerful it is. What's the architecture? What makes it so special as compared to the classical development tool like WebIDE? So if you really look at the persona, of course, the persona is developer here. Now, this developer could be anyone, whether it's a UI5 developer, you could be a Fiori developer, UI5 developer, you could be an ABAP application developer on the cloud, could be a native HANA developer going forward. For now, as I told you, that these features are not there, but soon I hope they will also be coming in one single environment. Could be developing Node.js applications, could be developing Java applications, of course, RAP applications using RESTful application programming model, or you may have the new cloud application programming model. So any kind of development, this is going to be one single development environment. So bye-bye to those local tools, Eclipse, HANA Studio, and all that confusion which was relevant for these tools, when to use what. Now you have one single tool, which is nothing but our Business Application Studio. So I would draw this as a one big box. There's a Business Application Studio. And then inside the Business Application Studio, of course, now we have pretty much, tailored development environment is called dev space. So let me just also draw it. So we have a concept of multi dev space. Yeah. So you will see that also like this. So you will see a new concept called dev space here. Now, what is a dev space? So a dev space is nothing but a quickly spinned, isolated virtual machine in cloud. Just imagine, if I want to develop a Node.js application I have at my home, and a laptop which is equipped with Node.js. Now, if I want to do Java development, maybe I have another laptop which has all the Java related tools installed, like JRE, JVM, Eclipse. If I have to do ABAP development, then I have ABAP development tools installed with the required necessary libraries and tools and services. If I have to do a UI5 development, then I have another laptop which has another tool, or probably you can have one laptop where everything is installed. So in the Business Application Studio, how it happens is each dev space is equipped with one kind of development, And at the same time, a developer can configure multiple dev spaces. So let's say one dev space for all my cloud application programming model development, and one dev space I configure for my Fiori development. So this is the way I can actually segregate my development based on the kind of application I'm building within this single environment. So the first environment here is for CAP development, and second one is for Fiori app development. And based on what dev space I configure for a specific development, all the required tools will be loaded for that particular development. So this way, it's pure segregation of duties between the dev space of kind of development. So of course, you would not need a Java runtime here in this case of Fiori development. You wouldn't. You would just need UI5 libraries, UI5 support for mock server, support for OPA 5 and unit tests, and of course, Fiori template support and all that support you need. So you would have, of course, a file system where all the code is stored. Of course, for source code management, we will have integration with the Git. Yeah, this is what we will have. But at the same time, we will have all the features, and also we have a base as our IDE, and then along with that we have Fiori specific features. And of course, as you know, the UI5 application runs on HTML5 runtime, so that's what is installed here. And then you have templates, Fiori related templates, then Fiori related mock server, all the services and features related to the Fiori development environment. So this is kind of a mini web IDE running, inside your dev space. Yeah. So this way you can have multiple instances of different development within one business application studio. So that's a kind of a very beautifully designed segregation of duties, and that one particular dev space specialized for one kind of development. So then at the same time, you will have possibility to integrate using same destination concept, which we know about WebIDE. Using this, we can connect to, different systems. Yeah. So you can connect to different systems, be it an on-premise system, be it a cloud system, or of course, Cloud Foundry again, for any kind of service. If you, for example, running on Cloud Foundry, you're running in HANA service, then you can also connect to XSO data as well. And then, of course, we have different deployment options. So if you want to deploy, you can definitely deploy to your on-premise or also on the cloud platform. So with that, thank you so much for watching this session. I hope you enjoyed this session on introduction of Business Application Studio. Feel free to hit a like button and share and subscribe this channel. Also, if you would like to attend the latest UI5 and Fiori training on Business Application Studio, kindly email us on contact@anubhavtrainings.com. Once again, thank you so much and see you in the next video.